Hey guys, Frank with Natural Surf Technique, and thanks for watching my channel. The last video I did over technique, right equipment to get when you're first learning, and remember, this is for you beginners out there. Got a couple of emails that I'd like to address, and one email was for surfers who and beginners who are a little bit out of shape, and why hand position is so important, and basically just trying to break down a little more of the science of things, especially my technique that I use. So first off, if you're bigger and out of shape, and and you're wanting to surf, I mean, it doesn't mean you can't surf and everything. It will be a little bit harder to do slide up technique or going up at all. So I advise to concentrate on hand position and trying to keep your feet as close together and be on a wider board. Wider board will just add balance. If you're on a narrower board, it's going to be a little less balance and you're going to be a little wobbly. So the bigger you are and the more out of shape you are, going a little bit wider is going to help you. And I think that's a valid point in an email I got from someone. But it does come down to the first thing is when you go to get up, it's the hand placement after you've paddled and caught the wave that I see the biggest errors. Even some people who have trained for the slide up technique that I have, that I coach, sometimes they will get the hands in the right position, but it's hard to transition from the beach and the floor to out in the waves and going down a wave or the whitewash. And the first thing that comes to mind is hand placement. And then when you come up, trusting to move your hips forward first and keeping your knees and feet down the middle. So the bigger surfers, your first thing to going up and being able to stand up on a surfboard is going to be that hand placement and making sure this is where you get your hands. You don't want them off-centered. It's just gonna roll a hip. Once this hip goes outside the rail line, or if your foot goes outside the rail line, what happens is that lead foot is gonna come on the outside of your arm. And when the lead foot goes on the outside of the arm, the only way you can get it in is if you move that arm. So you don't want to have to do that. So that is one of the biggest errors I see with some of my beginner clients that are a little bit out of shape. Even some of the intermediate surfers I work with, is the hand placement and getting that front knee between your arms, okay? So just imagine if you're going up your feet and your hands are in a bad position and you start rolling a hip and trying to twist a little soon, that lead foot is gonna go on the outside of the arm. And how do you get that foot in? If you're like this and that leg comes out here, it's hard to get that foot into the middle of the board where your bounce is gonna start. So just focus on hands here, don't grab the rails. The hardest thing about this is you go into a wave, you all of a sudden wanna get control. The first thing a lot of people do is start grabbing onto the rails, and it could be up here, here, here. If you're gonna grab, here's the best place. You're gonna probably crawl up because it's virtually impossible unless you're really, really flexible to get that front foot to place between your hands if you're grabbing onto the rail. So if you're grabbing on the rail, one, it constricts your muscles once you start grabbing. So you're gonna get a little stiffer and you're not gonna create the space needed between here and the board, okay? So if you're here and you're lifting up and you're holding on, one, you're using muscles. Two, you're not going to be able to fit that front foot between the board and here. You're pushing off to help create some space. So as you push and pull forward, you're trying to create space as the board's going forward and down the wave. So that's one of the things that I was emailed about, and I'm glad I can address it right now. The other thing is that when you're paddling, learn to paddle with your head up. Don't always keep your chest low to the board, because sometimes you'll get a false sensation of where you should be on the board by doing that, because a little bit further up you can get better planing speed. When you're paddling out, you can be a little bit further up, but as soon as you start going into waves, you want to be in the right spot of where I talked about earlier, was your chest just in the front of the middle of the board. If it's a huge board and a lot taller than you, your chest might even be in the middle of the board. But keeping that chest up a little bit will help put you in the right position, because what happens is the technique that I teach, the gears changing, it comes down to when you take that deep breath and you're going to go into a wave, you want to reach that chin out and reach your hands further. That's going to extend your spine a little bit and push down a little further up on the board. That's where you get that energy. So lifting your head up, deep breath, and reaching your hands, you're going to get more energy going into the wave. And if you're a little bit too far up and do that, what'll happen is you can push the nose under a little bit. And I see that happen with some people. And I'm glad I got the email and be able to address this. So a few things I just wanted to address when you're going into waves, paddling. Keep your head up off the board a little bit. Then right before the wave gets to you, lift the chest up and head up a little bit higher till that wave pushes. And the one thing you want to do is watch the wave when you're paddling. Don't just look out at the ocean, see a wave coming in, and turn and just start paddling and cross your fingers that you know what that wave is coming up behind you or what it's doing. Stay connected. It doesn't take a lot of energy and paddling speed to catch a wave if you're in the right spot. So the most important thing is the timing. Further out you can see the wave, which is very hard to do. It's one of the hardest parts about surfing is learning how to time the wave and see waves and what they're going to do. But if you think about it, is if you turn, you see the wave coming in and all of a sudden take your eyes off of it, when that wave gets to you, it's either going to be breaking on your back or it's going to, you're not going to catch it. So you're wanting to watch the wave all the way up and just glide. When right before that wave gets to you, if it's bigger on this side, no, you watch it on this side for etiquette reasons, make sure no one else is on the wave. Then as it starts pushing, start looking in the direction you want to go and put a little 5 to 10% influence in the rail in that direction, okay? So it's really important. Those little things matter so much when you're first learning, and even some, intermediate surfers might, get some valuable information out of this. So that's a couple of things I wanted to address. And the other thing is, when you're practicing at home, practice on a hardwood floor. Carpet's a little bit hard to move on, and really the slide up is just a training tool to get you to come up and get your body moving down the middle. So do it on a hardwood floor, even with a pair of socks on, and just use that as a workout routine. It's a great little workout routine, like doing push-ups or anything else. And you're just trying to do 10, 12 a day. It's not like you have to do a lot. Don't kill yourself over it, but just practice it. Find time to do 100 pop-ups in a week if you're not able to surf. And I call them slide ups because I want to emphasize you're sliding off the tips of your toes and your knees. And that keeps your hips low to the board so there's not too much space created. And a lot of people suffer from that, not having that ability of being able to flex, the flexibility to lift up so much. But if you get your hands in the right position, you'll at least have strength and control, okay? So those are a few things I just wanted to add to the last video I did. And then the next video, I'm gonna get into more of how to paddle out, roll the board if you're on turtling to get through the waves. We call it turtle roll. And then, the smaller board you get, you'll start duck diving. People always ask me about, how big of a board can I duck dive? And the truth is, you have to be able to duck dive, you have to be able to get the board underneath the power of the wave. So here's the top of the water and the wave breaks. The power that comes underneath that ocean line, the top of the water, well, there's power down here. You're technically trying to duck dive and get underneath that power. So duck diving is just going from here, push, then push down with the tail. As you go through the wave, you pull up a little bit so it takes away some of that drag, and then as you come up through the back of the wave, you slide back to your normal spot. Turtle rolling is grabbing here, because this is your power. If you grab up here, it's really hard on your wrist and your elbows, okay? And you won't be able to roll back over. So you're grabbing here, paddling, turtle roll before the wave gets to you, and you always want to go straight at the wave. So go straight at it, turtle roll. You're going to feel some turbulence. It's not nearly as bad as what people think. And then you're going to try to roll back over. And we'll go through a little more details on that. And I just wanted to give a heads up of what the next video is going to be, is how to get out, catch some whitewash, and that'll be the second part of the training. And then third is going to be getting out past the waves and learning how to go into a wave and practice leaning. So anyway, just thought I'd give a little bit of a rundown of what I'm going to go into the next couple of videos, but I wanted to also add these things to the first video I just did on the very beginner techniques of getting the right board, and address go wider if you're not in shape, go a little bit wider so you have less wobble and you have much more stability going up, and make sure you focus on hand position when you go up, knees and feet together, and that'll be, you know, very helpful for a lot of you beginners out there, is those little things I just talked about. So anyway, it's Frank with Natural Surf Technique, and hope that helps answer a few questions out there, and look forward to giving you more content on the next levels of your surfing. But again, this is for beginner surfers who are just getting introduced to surfing and want to change their life a little bit and have some fun to do. And that's it. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll bring the best content I possibly can. There's a lot of great techniques out there. I use a little different technique than most people, but it all breaks down to the same at the end of the day. And just trying to use metaphors and analogies to help make sense to different brains that are working out there. And hope you like it, guys. Take care. Have a wonderful week. Bye.